This terror plot has exposed a major national security vulnerability. The air cargo security system is riddled with holes. Our Jeremy Hubbard has been looking into that. He joins us this morning from JFK International Airport in New York. Jeremy, good morning.
Good morning, Dan. There are about 1,000 cargo flights into the United States every day. That's on top of the parcels that are stuffed into the bellies of passenger planes. And one Homeland Security expert we talked to says the vast majority of air cargo still goes relatively unchecked.
Just how safe is the nearly 32 billion pounds of cargo flown into the U.S. every year?
This is a warning. Al-Qaeda is obsessed with aviation.
Under law, 100% of cargo shipped in the bellies of U.S. passenger planes is now supposed to be screened, and the TSA says about 80% of cargo on inbound international passenger flights is checked. But critics say those numbers are exaggerated. And what about those cargo-only planes, like the ones involved in Friday's scare?
What I hear still, where about 90% of that cargo is not screened. At least not screened in a fashion where you could determine what's inside the containers.
Analysts point to several reasons for that. The most glaring, shippers often allow their most frequent and trusted customers to send parcels as secure, meaning those packages regularly scoot through without further security checks. Then there's lackluster screening at overseas airports, cargo that won't fit inside X-ray machines, and a lack of costly gamma ray machines that can see through steel and detect explosives.
The remedy is to use the proper technology. That's the remedy. Make the investment.
Critics say up till now, shipping companies have fought stricter cargo screening rules because of the cost.
Al-Qaeda would like to blow up a plane if the security is so lax that they could do so. Every time an industry says it's too expensive, then Al-Qaeda begins to plot.
Now, the TSA, we're told, is looking into more of that gamma ray technology. One analyst we talked to said you can have all the TSA agents and German shepherds in the world, but without that technology, you don't even scratch the surface when it comes to checking air cargo for explosives. Dan?
A huge problem. Jeremy Hubbard reporting from JFK Airport this morning. So for more now on the safety of cargo on planes, we're joined by the terrorism expert, Richard Falkenrath. He was Deputy Homeland Security Advisor for President Bush and one-time NYPD Deputy Commissioner for Counterterrorism. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in.
Happy.
Let me ask you, I think a lot of people find this story a little bit annoying because we have to take our shoes off and throw out our bottles of water every time we get on a plane. Yet if you send a package from Yemen or some other hotspot, it doesn't get checked many times. How is this the case 9 years after 9/11?
Well, there hasn't been a statutory requirement to do it yet. And the reason is that we typically thought Al-Qaeda was trying to kill a lot of people. And that usually involves a passenger aircraft. And if you're putting a parcel onto a cargo aircraft, there's not a lot of people on there, just the air crew. I think that's going to get looked at again as a result of this event.
But isn't that a faulty assumption? Because you could blow up a plane landing in a major city and that could kill a lot of people.
Absolutely. And I think Congressman Markey was talking about that earlier in the segment. It's something Congress is going to take a look at. It's a very expensive thing to do, screening every parcel coming into the United States, getting on UPS, getting on FedEx. And, that's the trade-off you have to make in these jobs.
It's expensive and it's cumbersome and it's difficult to get other countries to play by our rules in terms of screening. So does that mean that we're never really going to fill these holes?
We may not. It's not just the countries that have to play by our rules, it's the carriers. And so if we basically pass a law that say you can't bring a parcel into the United States that hasn't been screened in this way, FedEx, UPS, DHL, they're going to comply.
So, there's been a lot of talk now about Yemen. And you said something interesting. A lot of people are saying, well, Yemen appears to be posing an increasingly dangerous threat to us. But you pointed out that the fact that they're sending packages through the mail may actually point to the weakness of Al-Qaeda in Yemen.
Yeah, I think they would prefer to actually have a human being deliver these explosive devices rather than just put them in the mail and send them. And my hunch is this is a little bit of a desperation play by them. They would rather actually know a human being who they had trained, who they had looked at in the eye and said, you're going to do this. He swears an oath, throws the switch. Sending a parcel is a high-risk way of delivering an explosive device.
We've been hearing a lot of reporting, including from our own Pierre Thomas, that Al-Qaeda is desperate to get a win on the board before the 10th anniversary of 9/11. Do you think it's a foregone conclusion that they will at some point successfully attack us, or can we stop them?
No, nothing is a foregone conclusion. We can stop them. That's the first point. But the premise is right. They are desperate to hit us again.
Richard Falkenrath, really appreciate you coming in. Thank you.
You're welcome.